Welcome to another edition of our midweek market update. This week has been exciting, just like most of the weeks. This week, we're not going to talk much about the Fed. We kind of went over that last week. We're going to talk more about the AI sector, and we're going to highlight a company that is going to be in the headlines a lot this week because of fantastic Q4 earnings. So the past 5 trade days have been a bit of a roller coaster. While the S&P has flirted with record highs, it's also shown brief periods of pullback. But this is pretty common when the market is headline driven. The areas the market appears to be most focused on are kind of the same things: earnings, um, scrutiny over the valuation in the tech industry, especially big tech, AI. And there's still a lot of uncertainty around rate expectations and economic data like delayed jobs reports. One of the companies that's making a lot of headlines this week is Palantir. Now, we're all familiar with a lot of the AI companies out there: OpenAI, NVIDIA, AMD to a lesser extent, but they're involved on the chip level. But one of the biggest players is Palantir. And a lot of people on the streets maybe haven't heard of them. But let's do a little bit of a dive into who they are and why they matter for the stock market. Palantir is a data analytics software company that was founded in 2003. While a lot of AI focuses on what's called generative AI, Palantir focuses on operational AI, right? Finding more efficiencies. They started out focusing on integrating battlefield information into a database to help identify threats, and have since expanded to become a problem solver for the Department of Defense. As of January 2025, the US government had awarded them nearly 2.5 billion in contracts since 2009, with over 1.3 billion of that coming from the Department of Defense. Now, recently, the company has expanded its military footprint even further, signing a 10-year, $10 billion contract with the US Army. But it's not just military. They're starting to really kind of sink their fangs into the commercial side of things. They've built an impressive portfolio of clients, including banks, government regulators, foreign entities, some companies like BP, United Airlines, Lowe's, the list goes on and on. I bring them up because they're in the headlines this week in a big way. They beat Q4 earnings. They're kind of challenging this idea that the AI sector is overvalued, but they're not going anywhere anytime soon. And they're probably on their way to becoming kind of a household name within the AI sector, much like NVIDIA. So let's talk a little bit about 1099s, more specifically 1099s for after tax accounts like individual accounts, joint accounts, even certain trust accounts. Why does it tend to take longer for after tax accounts to receive their 1099? It's important to note that these types of accounts are a lot more complex calculation than just an IRA. The final reclassification of things like dividends, capital gains, tax credits, all these things make it a much more difficult calculation than just simple distributions out of an account. Most custodians will wait until they've received all the data on all these different things before they will publish the final 1099. And keep in mind, 1099 on after-tax accounts involves a lot of different forms. You might get a 1099-B, a 1099-DIV, a 1099-INT, a 1099 miscellaneous, And there's even forms beyond these four, but these are the four that you'll see most commonly. But even with all of this calculation, even with taking a little bit longer to get it out, sometimes there's still a mistake in there. Or sometimes funds will pay out later than anticipated, and you'll get what's called a corrected 1099. So it's pretty rare, but there are times when you'll see a corrected 1099 come, and that's usually because there was a miscalculation or all the fees didn't come in before the final one was published. Generally speaking, custodians will have these ready to go by mid-February. Sometimes it gets pushed in a little bit later into February, but I would anticipate us seeing them in mid-February this year. A lot of you have selected e-delivery for how you wish to receive these forms. Just keep in mind you'll get an email when the final 1099 is ready, and all you need to do is log into your NetX investor account, and you're welcome to print off your final 1099. Thank you so much for listening to this video. Hopefully you found it to be educational. If you have any concerns about anything going on, don't hesitate to reach out to your advisor. Sleep well knowing that we're watching the accounts 24 hours a day. And if we ever feel like we need to take action, we won't hesitate to do so. Look forward to talking to you next week. Thank you so much.